Howdy! We are going to learn how to create and save a document and to basically navigate one and do different things to it. So the first thing you have to do is open Word. There are a variety of ways to do that depending upon your computer. The list of programs that are available is alphabetic, so I just choose Word. Now that I have chosen Word, I have options whether to open a blank document, to use a template, or to open one that I've already used, such as this one. So we're going to start here. And now that I have the document open, the first thing that you want to do when you create a new document, whether it's from a template, whether you're opening one, or whether you're starting with an existing one, is that you want to save it to the location which actually makes sense for you. I'm going to save mine to the desktop because I'm working on a computer other than my own, and now I know where it is. I'll be able to find it. You might also want to change the name if, for instance, I'm taking this and I'm revising this applesauce cake recipe to be gluten-free, let's say. So now we have opened it and we've saved it, but let's have a quick look at what the difference would be if we used a template. So templates are located in the same place. So we could have chosen blank document. We could choose a resume. I'm going to scroll down here and let's go to a seasonal event flyer because it'll show us some of the advantages of using a template. So when I use a template, my advantage is that everything is actually coordinated. The colors of the font, the colors of the document, the background colors of the boxes, and it's all arranged professionally. So as long as the information that you put on it also looks professional, you can come out with something that is very pleasing to the eye because it has been designed by someone who does this for a living. Now, I can select this text and retype whatever it is that I want in here, which that's not very good. One of the things you want to make certain that you do is that you go through and you replace every piece of generic text with information that reflects what you are wanting to do with the document. And so you wouldn't want to go ahead and publish this document with a little box that says your logo here. You would want to go ahead and insert your logo in it. So the advantages of working with a template are that it is professionally designed, it is coordinated, it is selections of fonts, colors, images, boxes, sizes, and an arrangement on the page. And I do not want to save my changes there. So now we're going to look at spelling and grammar. And we would want to go to Review tab, Spelling and Grammar. So Braeburn is, a lot of times the names are going to pop up in spell check and you really don't want to change it. So we're going to ignore that. Wish together eggs. No, I want to whisk together eggs. And apples with 3 P's is not what I had in mind. So I'm going to change that. And it's going to automatically select one word for you, and that may not necessarily be correct. In this case it is, so I can just hit change. And it says it's complete. So does that mean that my document is perfect? Well, unfortunately it doesn't, because it's going to find some grammar problems and it's going to miss some. So you have to proofread your document when you're finished in order to make sure that you have it exactly the way you want. And one of the big problems in documents is when we create a document the first time, we're actually typing a sentence all the way through. Then we go through and we make little editing changes. So let's say I decided that I wanted that to be 1 instead of the number 1. And I'm going to make this 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. Now, if I don't pay attention, this is a very easy mistake to make, and for it to go ahead and print it out, you've made all your changes, you went through, you deleted a space there, and now you have an error on your page. So you have to make sure that after you edit things, that the sentence still makes sense. And one of the best ways to do that is actually to read it out loud, because when you read it out loud, you notice things that your eye might skip over if you're just reading it there. So now let's look at some options. for Word. If we go into the Backstage view, and when I hit File, this is what's called the Backstage view. And there are a lot of things that I can do here. So I have compatibility mode here. And I can click Convert, and it says it's going to be upgraded to the newest file format. So this document was an earlier file format, and it's going to go ahead and upgrade it. And that's important, especially if you're going to send it out. Now let's go back to the Backstage view. And we also have this Inspect Document. So before publishing the file, be aware that it contains document properties, author's name, and related dates. So before we do this part of it, let's look at the Properties menu over here. And it tells a lot about it. You may not be aware that all of this metadata is included in your document. So it says that this was created by the Exploring series, and that's because it is one of your textbook documents and last modified by me. So if I go up here to Properties, in Advanced Properties, I have several other things that I can put in there. So I can give the document a title. I can put a subject, recipe. And I can put keywords in it. And this will be part of one of your assignments, to put keywords. So if I was looking for any of these things in a document search, it would look at that. And I can put comments. And then I say, okay. And there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this, because I want those documents to become part of the properties of the document. So now when we go in here to inspect the document, check for issues, and we'll ask it to inspect the document. And I want it to look at all of these things, document properties and personal information, because you might be creating a document that you want to publish, and you don't necessarily want your name to go with that. So if I was creating a template to be used at Blinn College, it doesn't need to have my name embedded in it. So I'm going to hit Inspect. And now it tells me, so I have an alert right here, and this says that there were no problems found here. So the document properties contain the author and related dates. I can ask it to remove all. And that was the only problem that it found. Now I can ask it to re-inspect, inspect, and it says it has none. So I'm going to hit close. Now let's have a look here at our properties. And what you'll see is that it removed all of those document properties. Now, if I wanted keywords to be in it, I'd have to go in at this point and add them back in. All right. So now let's go back. Since we've looked at this, there are other options. So there's the open option, save, save as. Save as is an important one, because if I want to change what type of a document I have, I'm going to use this save as dialog box, and maybe I just want to change the name of it to version 2. So I'll put it back on the desktop. And if I just wanted to save the name to version 2 so that I knew that, I can do that right there, or I could give it a completely different name. But I also have all of these options of what document types I can save as. I can save it as a PDF. The advantage to saving it as a PDF for distribution are that basically it turns it into an image. And no matter what fonts you used, it's not going to bounce it around on the page, because those fonts aren't available on the computer on which someone is viewing it. So if you had created the flyer that we looked at, initially you would probably want to save it as a PDF before you sent it out. If you want people to be able to edit it, you need to leave it in the Word document. I can save it in rich text format or plain text, and these are more compatible files with other applications. And a lot of times when you're uploading something to a company server, like a job application, it'll ask you to save it in a rich text format. So this will be a good thing to remember. You probably will see this in your future when you're out looking for a job. So I'm going to hit save, and we're done there. Now let's have a quick look at our toolbars. And I wanted to show you this quick little image. And so we have, these are our tabs, these are our commands, the individual ones, and these are our command groups. So tabs all across the top, each little icon is a command, and these are our command groups. And this is going to be really critical for you as you're following instructions, because we have changes, compare, protect, tracking. On our home tab, which we use a lot, we have the clipboard, font, paragraph, styles, and there are styles when we get into particular tasks that we're doing. So if I wanted to work with a picture, I would be getting some extra toolbars up here, and I'll just show you that real quickly. So I'm a beekeeper, and you're going to see a lot of instances where I will use things from bees, but I'm going to insert a picture, and I have it in my downloads. So if I click on this PC and I go to downloads, there's the picture of my bees and the first feeder that I made for them. So they're eating their sweet little bees. Now, when I have this selected, I get another tab that wasn't there before. So when I click off of it again, you'll notice that that tab goes away. It was right in this area. Click on the picture and I get the format tab. And this is a content sensitive tab. It pops up when I have certain content, and it allows me to do things with that content, such as crop the picture. Maybe I want to crop the sugar feeder out of it and I just want my bees, and then want to crop that out, and we can just crop right on into my bees flying into their protein feeder, and then I can make it bigger. And there are my bees. Now, notice that I said that there were style groups in a lot of the tabs, and so your content sensitive menu one also has styles. So I can choose a style here and it changes my photo, and that's really sweet. And there are picture effects, picture borders, so things can be changed and move around, but that only pops up when you're actually in it. When you're in the tables, other table menus will pop up. So keep that in mind, that if it's telling you to do something to a picture and you can't find the menu to do it, you're going to have to select that picture before that menu is going to pop up. So the ribbon contains tabs, commands, align, rotate, and groups. This is the arrange group. This is the adjust group. And the home group is where the home tab is where we're going to spend a lot of time. So you're going to need to get used to that terminology and begin to look for things that way. So here's our style menu here, which is paragraph styles. One of the great things about Word is that we can actually customize the ribbon, and we can add commands to it. So customize the ribbon, right there. I right-clicked and I get customize the ribbon. You can also get this in your backstage view in tools. So customize ribbon, if I want to add something else to that, like change list level and with bullets and lists, I can add that to the toolbar. This you probably will not use as you're just beginning to learn Word, but as you move into the professional world and you're doing the same thing over and over, you may really want to take a whole bunch of stuff off of the ribbon and put the commands on there that you use the most. We also have a quick access toolbar, the little mini toolbar up here, and you can customize it as well. So I can add different things to it, but I can also do the more commands. And I can add any of these commands onto my toolbar, and I can narrow it down to just one if I don't want to think about a whole lot. If you look at all of the different layout things that you could put on there, that's pretty amazing. So I'm going to hit cancel on this, but the other option that I want to show you about the mini toolbar is that I can ask it to show below the ribbon. Now, that is really handy because it's not as far from the document. So if you were doing the same kinds of things to, say, photographs over and over and over again, having that toolbar right there could make a big difference to you. Next, I want to look at inserting headers and footers, and you're going to find that option on the Insert menu, which I had to click twice. And here we go. We have a header and footer group. We have header, footer, and page number. As you get out into the professional world and maybe even in your own world in your academic pursuits, you're going to want to be using headers and footers in your documents. So I'm going to go here, and I want more footers from office.com because I want more options than it's showing me right now. Okay, well, let's just choose Bandon. There we go. Now, it already has the page number in there, but I may want some other information. This is another time when you now get a design tab so that I can put more in here. Now, what I would like to show you is that when you hit tab once, it puts it in the center, and then when you hit it again, it's going to right align it. So I can shift tab is back tab. So I want to put my file path. I want to know what the directory is where I'm going to save this so that anytime that this is printed out and I wonder where is that document, it'll be right there on the document. And then I'm going to hit tab twice because right aligned over here, I want to put another document info. I want to put the document title. There's not a title on this document because we took it off. Nevertheless, I could put the document title, I could put the page number, bottom of page, there we go. Oh, that deleted everything, didn't it? So you kind of want to put that in first and then hit tab twice, and over here right aligned I can put in my document info, my file path. There we go. And because it took the whole line, it went ahead and dropped it to the next line. Now let's look at some of our layout options, which is found in the Layout tab, and our Page Setup palette. When you see this little box in the corner, you can pop it out and it gives you all kinds. So we have margins, paper, layout. So if I decide I want to give specific margins, this is a good way to do it. But if I just had general margins, let's say I just wanted it narrow. And then I know that I want landscape because it's going to fit perfectly on something. And I can also change size, but I don't want to. I want this 8.5 by 11, but there are times whenever you will want to change that. But there are many more options over here. So on the Layout tab, vertical alignment. So horizontal means it's like the horizon. It goes across the page. Vertical is up and down on the page. So if I want it centered on the page so that it has an equal top and bottom margin, that's where I find that. And we've got paper here to select, and then margins again, and I could type in specific margins. And one of the things, notice that I went 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, and it tells me that some margins are outside the printable area of the page. Try moving those margins. And if I tell it fix, it automatically puts in the narrowest margin that Word will allow for the printer that you're using. And that's a very handy feature when you're trying to squeeze as much text as you can on one page. So there we go. Now, something that's really useful, once I've put that footer in there, I don't have to go back and forth. I can just double click. I don't have to find a command. If I double click inside the footer, I automatically get in the footer. When I'm in the footer, that design tab pops up so that I can use those design elements, and then I just double click to go back into the main part of the document. Now, one of the things that we haven't looked at yet, and this is really critical to your success. So let's go back to the Options tab, And let's look at the different things. So we have display, proofing, save, language, advanced, customize the ribbon, or customize a quick access toolbar. So we can do those here as well. But I'm going to go into the save. So it tells me that I want to auto recover every 10 minutes. If I was doing something that was really intense and tedious, I would probably tell it to auto recover every 2 minutes, because I was working on a document for my students and putting little arrows that went places and showed things, and it kept freezing on me, and I kept having to do that same tedious little task over and over. So changing that to 2 minutes means that auto recover is going to do that for you automatically. Now, another thing that I really think is important is the default local file location. So this is blend.edu, home folders, faculty Carolyn Lowry. But I really like to simplify things for myself on my home computer. And what I do is I put the backup files where I can find them really quickly. So I'm going to go to this PC, and I'm just going to have them popped onto the desktop. And that's going to be just fine. And that way I don't have to go through some weird structure to find them. And I can do the same thing with server drafts locations, and those are very nice. One other option that I want you to know about is in the proofing tab, we have this ability to show readability statistics, and that will tell you how many words you have in a document, which is really handy, and it'll also tell you the grade level on which you're reading. So let's hit OK, and I will run spell check again and show you what pops up. So this says 10 minutes. It actually wants it hyphenated. So, oh no, that was my error there, so it wants to put a space in it. Yippee-yi-yo-cow-yay. All right, now these are my readability statistics. It says that I have 192 words, this many characters, paragraphs, sentences per paragraph, and then passive sentences, but it also says flesh reading ease and the flesh Kincaid grade level. So it's a 5th grade, 5.5, so a 5th grade reading level, which when you prepare documents for distribution to the general public, we shoot for an 8th grade reading level. And a recipe on a 5th grade reading level, that's actually pretty good, because you wouldn't want a 5th grader to be able to read and understand the letter. And this concludes this introduction to words. So I hope you found this helpful.